In this lesson, we are going to explore functions. Functions are predefined formulas that perform calculations using specific values in a particular order. While you may think of formulas as being a short mathematical equations like F2 times C2, they can be really lengthy. Excel even gives extra space here in the formula bar to accommodate long formulas. Functions can actually save you the time of adding lengthy formulas because the computation the function will perform is predefined so that you don't have to enter all the mathematical operators. For example, let's say that we want to find the total cost of all of our inventory. Basically, we want to add each item in column G together. Instead of writing a formula that add G2 plus G3 plus G4 and so on, we can use a function. Let's go down to A42 and type total inventory cost. And we're going to use a function to add each item in column G and place the total here in G42. To access our functions, select the Formulas tab. You'll see a variety of commands in the function library group. From here, we can access all of the available functions. In G42, I want to insert a function that adds or provides the sum of all the cells in column G. So let's select the drop-down arrow next to the AutoSum command and select Sum. You will see a formula has been defined in G42. Now this is called a function. This is different than the formulas you're used to, but don't worry, I'll explain more about the function in a minute. You can see that the cells in the column are selected. The AutoSum command automatically selects the cells G2 to G41. This is called a range of cells. Excel has predicted those were the cells I wanted based on where I was entering the function. If I press the Enter key or the Enter button next to the formula bar, the total appears. We can see that our inventory is worth $4,371.06. Now what if we didn't want all of the cells selected? Well, you can edit the function. Let's just select the cell and go up to our formula bar. We can edit the range. Right now, the functions add cells from G2 to G41. If we don't want to include cups in our inventory table, we can change this to G39. And then click the Enter icon. We can see the total has changed to reflect our new range. I actually do want all of my inventory selected, so let's just click Undo to go back to our original function. Now let's take a look at the parts of the function in closer detail. Each function has a specific order called syntax, which must be strictly followed for the function to work correctly. All functions begin with an equal sign. After the equal sign, you have to define the function name. In this case, it's sum. Remember, a function is a predefined formula. So this function tells Excel that it will add a group of cells. The next part of the function is the argument. The information enclosed in parentheses is argument. The argument in this function, G2 to G41, which represents a range of cells. You use a colon to represent a range of cells. The range basically says that all the cells from G2 to G41 are included. I know the language can be really confusing, but it is important to know. You won't need to know these terms to use the function, but will need to know them if you use the Excel help tool. You can also have a function that has more than one argument. For example, this function calculates the sum of two ranges. Let's take a look at how you can insert this function in a spreadsheet. We want to calculate the total dollar amount we have of cones and cups. Let's do that here. Instead of using the AutoSum command, I can insert the function another way. First, I need to select the cell where I want the function to appear. Then I click the Insert Functions command on the Formulas tab. A dialog box appears. By default, a sum function is selected. But if I wanted to perform another mathematical operation, I can use this search tool to find a function that will perform the calculation that I need. All you have to do is type a question in the search for a function box and click Go. Or you can scroll through the list of functions in Select Function field. As you select different function, a description of the function will display below describing what calculation the function will perform. If you prefer to narrow this list, you can select a category and only view this type of functions. We'll just select the sum and click OK. And the function argument dialog box appears so that I can enter cells that I want to include in this function. We'll make sure our cursor is in the number 1 field and then find the area where cones are listed. Now left click and drag your cursor to select G21 to G26 and then release the mouse button. We can see now the argument appears in the number 1 field. Since we want to add another argument, we'll just place our cursor in the number 2 field and in the spreadsheet select cells from G40 and G41. And the argument appears in the field. If we look at the spreadsheet, we can see that functions with 2 arguments appear in the cells. Now click OK in the dialog box and the function adds the amount of cups and cones we have together and displays it in G44. There are so many ways you can write functions and so many types of functions. Another simple function that I can show you using inventory spreadsheet is the average function. This function computes the average of a range of cells. Let's say we want to calculate the average cost we paid for a 2.5 gallon tub of ice cream. The price varies a bit depending on the flavor, but we want to find average cost. In A46, I will type average flavor and then select C46 where I want the function to appear. Now, if I click the drop-down arrow next to the AutoSum command and select average, we can see the Excel automatically selects all the cells in column C. But wait, I only want to find the average cost that I paid for a 2.5 gallon tub of ice cream. Excel automatically chose all the cells, but it's not quite right. So all I need to do is left click and drag to select the cells I want to average. As I'm dragging my mouse and selecting the cells, I can see in the formula bar how the formula is changing. Once the correct cells are selected, I can click the enter icon and see that the amount listed is the average cost of 2.5 gallon tub of ice cream. Okay, this is something I need to point out really quickly. If you look closely, a small green triangle appears with an exclamation mark in the left corner of the cell where I was calculating my average. This usually indicates some type of mistake. So let's take a quick look. If I scroll over the exclamation point, I can select a drop-down arrow which gives me a list of options. Okay, I don't want to include the adjacent cells, so I will just ignore this error. One of the many great features in Excel is that it will catch your mistakes for you and make suggestions on how to fix those mistakes. Sum and average are just two of the most commonly used functions. You can use functions to accomplish a variety of mathematical calculations. From the functions library, you can see some of the categories of the functions. There are financial functions that will help you work with interest rates, calculate loan payment, and determine depreciation amounts. There are date and time functions that will help you find a number of days between two dates. There are math and trick functions and so much more. Excel literally has hundreds of different functions to assist you with your calculations. Building formulas can be difficult and time consuming. Excel's functions can save you a lot of time and headaches.